Hello and welcome to Reddit on Reddit, the internet's auditory version of Reddit. I'm Nelson Allingham, joined by Michael Cambo Campbell.
Do you know what I'm realizing, Nelson? Especially, I would say, like today, yesterday, even tomorrow. We're in Melbourne. We're coming out of lockdown after weeks and weeks of being locked inside. But it's just started to get to those insufferably hot Melbourne sticky days.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's kind of like we're not coming out at like peak good weather yet. We're coming out at that kind of miserably humid weather.
Yeah.
And I just want everyone to know that during this podcast, I'm so sticky.
Yeah. You're lucky, Cambo. You've already got a girlfriend.
That's true.
Imagine trying to get one in this kind of weather.
Yeah.
What's your name? Sorry, I'm just moving ever so slightly.
You never want to be flirting with a potential new love interest with a wet back.
Yeah. That's not really the way to go forward.
But it is the way the world is.
Maybe we should make capes fashionable for that reason.
That's good. Or like capes, but made of like absorbent material.
Yeah.
So you can actually wipe the sweat off your back when no one's looking.
Yeah. It's good. Oh my God, this is genius. Cambo, sometimes I like to use this podcast as a bit of like a bouncing board of ideas. No, it's not really ideas. Well, sometimes that too. But also like, I want to know if I'm correct in this assessment.
Okay. So you use this as like some kind of beta test for theories that you have or opinions that you hold?
Yeah. Something that, just stuff that I want validation of in some ways. This is going to be more of a question of, is this racist? Okay.
Yeah.
This is what happened to me. I went to the city the other day and I thought I might have a delicious Chinese lunch.
Sure.
So I went into a place called China Bar.
Yep.
And I went in there and I said, "Hey, you Chinese bozos." That's not the part, obviously. That my question revolves around. I ordered some duck. Quite yum. It's delicious, by the way. Then, but as I got my meal, they put down a spoon and a fork.
Right.
I was like, this is great. That's fine. I can deal with these things. Then I looked around, and everybody else of Asian descent had chopsticks. And all the Caucasians had a fork. I was never consulted.
So what you're querying is, were you racially profiled?
Was I racially profiled?
Yeah.
That, to me, could you imagine if I did that the other way around? Yeah. Like they come into an Outback steakhouse, and I go, oh, Chinese people, I better give them chopsticks, and I lay that down.
Yeah.
There would be an uproar.
I wonder how much of this is a preemptive strike on... I imagine that if you were to like put down chopsticks instead of cutlery, there would probably be a bit of an issue. But also, I think that if you were to give someone a knife and a fork in a steak restaurant, they wouldn't yell at you for not giving them their normal cutlery. However, I do feel like, let's say, a certain kind of middle-aged white woman would yell at them for not giving them the cutlery they're accustomed to, even though they're eating in an eatery that doesn't normally have that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think I understand what you're saying, that yes, the color of the skin dictated that let's just be safe and give. Did they give both cutlery options?
No, that's the thing.
That's interesting.
Well, I mean, there was just a spoon and a fork, and there was no chopsticks at all. If they had have put all three down,
so
then I'd be like, that's fine.
Give me options. Yeah.
Giving me options.
Yeah.
And surely you're not in short supply of chopsticks.
Because what I imagine is that this policy has evolved from just numerous occasions of them putting chopsticks down and someone being like, excuse me, I want to eat this with different cutlery. Thank you. Even though that is not how it's traditionally meant to be eaten. So now they just like, let's just nip this in the bud.
But doesn't that mean it's almost more racist? Because they're saying that all white people are so racist. They will. I mean, we are, obviously.
I would just say, look at all of history.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I feel...
If there was one race that is more racist than any other, it's white people.
Yeah.
Like, in a landslide.
All I'm saying now is when somebody of another race to me says, Oh, I have racism, against me all the time. It's really, I'm really affected by it. It upsets me. I say, I understand. Let me tell you about this experience I had when I went into a Chinese restaurant.
I love that. Like,
they didn't give me chopsticks.
It's true. It's like, let's compare apples to apples.
Yeah.
It's like, let me tell you about racial prejudice. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I felt a little bit embarrassed.
What, like I can't handle chopsticks?
Yeah.
God.
So I think, that being profiled by police, they're very similar.
Very similar. Very similar.
But I would say that I would categorize it as this. Racial profiling, sure.
Yeah.
Racist, like with intent to demean you, no.
Absolutely. They probably came in and just giggle as I sat down. Look at this white boy. You know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to give him chopsticks.
It is
and
funny.
All their friends behind the counter are laughing. Oh my God, they just gave him a fork. That's what they're doing.
I have had similar experiences, but then also like it's one of the moments where I needed to kind of, I guess, check myself, where I went into an Indian restaurant. Mm-hmm. We were going to get takeaway. There was a group of us all from the cinema next door, all Caucasian. Mm-hmm. And went up to the counter and the guy's like, butter chicken?
Really?
And I went...
That to me is worse.
Actually, yeah. That's because, like, for a moment, I was like,
right into it.
How dare you? I mean, yes,
Yeah,
obviously.
Obviously, I'm a white guy. That's definitely what I want.
Yeah.
I can't handle anything with a moderate amount of spice that's not butter chicken. Okay. Let's get into it, Kemba.
Sure.
This first one is it was in the subreddit Funny and Sad, and it was by, why can't I see who this is by? This is amazing. Oh my God, I found it. Never mind. NTAL Tiger. Natal Tiger. A man received a $75 check to restart his life after being wrongfully imprisoned for 31 years. That's insane.
Yeah. It depends in which country or which state of that country. Because, like, you do that in, like, I don't know, middle of nowhere, South Australia. Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah. I think, that's true. Maybe we didn't think about the country that this person was from. If that was $75
here
in a third world country,
or here,
that's at least 150 almost. I think there is nefarious undergoing ons here because this is what I think happened. They were like, "Oh my God, we've made a huge mistake. This is terrible. We can't let the public know," but they do know. We've obviously gone to court. They've realized that we switched the fingerprints. By the way, I will say man of color. So,
right.
Yeah.
You understand.
I
You've
understand.
been racially profiled yourself.
Understand what he's gone through, basically, on a fundamental level.
Is it a slippery slope?
Yeah. And so I think they were like, what we need to do is when he's released, get him to commit several crimes so that we can be seen as like, well, really it was preventative jail.
Right.
What
so you
think
think it's like a malicious thing to not give enough to survive.
Yeah.
Forcing into a life of crime. I had a far less nefarious theory behind what happened.
Okay.
Which is that it's an ill-prepared, like, let's even just say prison warden or prison guard. That they're releasing the man at the time, and the man's there with his lawyer, and they're giving, in the movies where they give the stuff back over the counter.
I know.
I imagine
Blues Brothers taught me that.
That situation is happening.
Yeah.
And then the lawyer's like, all right, well, he's free now. What about the restitutions? And the warden's like, and he gets out his wallet.
Yeah.
And he happened to have $75 on him. He's like, there you go. That should start you off, I guess.
It's got I like the idea that he actually went to just the other prisoner's property. Ruffled through a few of the boxes, like, I've got a bag of cocaine you can have.
It maybe even lazier. That was just what was in his little box of goods, being like, one wallet, $75. That ought to help you out to start off. And he's like, but this was my $75.
well.
But yes, but I am giving it to you.
Yeah. I could have taken this out many times. There was a guy last week.
I do that all the time. Oh, don't tell anyone that.
Yeah.
Have 80.
Yeah. Only when I forget to bring my lunch, but like that's not that often. Yeah, I think, could you imagine coming out of jail
After 31 years.
31 years is a really long time.
Here's the thing.
I'm 31 years old, Cambo.
Here's the thing. Here's where we're like, $75, that is enough. And they're like, yeah, big time. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I like the idea that they asked him how much he demanded when he got out of jail.
I'm going to need a lot, boys. I'm going to need $70 to $75 here.
I like the idea that he asked for 100 and they're like, we better not agree straight away because otherwise he'll realize that that's, quite a lot less.
Because presumably a lot of prisons are in rural areas.
Yeah.
So if he gets a cab back to, civilization, that's gone.
That's already the $75 gone. What a horrible way to start. Do you know what I've just realized? I don't think the prison system works. I don't think so. Is it to me, that is absolutely that guy is doing crimes now. I have no doubt about it. Like if I got out of jail and had no prospects and they gave me $75, I was like, well, I'm going to buy some drugs with this and then sell them for more than what I paid.
I think though, I don't think that this situation is one-to-one as we're describing it. Because most likely that is just the prison trying to get out of having to pay restitution, and that's as low as they could go. But I'm sure he probably has family. He doesn't have to live off $75. That's just all that the system would actually give him for the 31 years of his life.
Yeah.
More than he may have had money in a bank account before he went, think of the interest on that.
That's true. Oh,
He got $80 to $85 interest.
Oh my God.
Doubling his money right there. But, it's not like...
But do you think, because I think that we happen to be in fortunate situations where you have the support of a lot of family and friends, but as is the case in most of the wrongdoings of, when people are accused of something that they didn't do, it's they didn't have enough money for a good lawyer, and they're probably in a poorer financial situation, them and their family. To sort of get into this situation. So,
but see, I don't think that you'd need to immediately. In fact, I would say if anything's a deterrent to immediately turning to crime, it would be 31 years in prison. I think there are ways around it.
I mean, you get institutionalized. If anything, you're I want to do something straight away to get me back there. Right. That was a safe zone.
So are you saying that he's turning to crime to get straight back into prison?
I mean, you either try one or the other. You're look, I either become a successful drug lord or I go straight back to where I'm comfortable. I think that's the way it works.
Yeah. If Shawshank Redemption has taught us anything, and it taught us many things.
It did teach us many things. If you're in a prison and somebody asks for a small carving stone axe thing, don't give it to them.
It's not just for chess pieces.
Yeah, it's not just for chess pieces. Also, don't put anyone against a wall. You know what? That should be it. Don't worry about...
No walls.
No, at least have 1 meter distance from the wall and where the bars end of that cell.
What everybody needs to be in, and I understand that the practicality of this is going to be a lot more difficult, but I'm picturing the prison at the end of the first X-Men movie that they put Magneto in, where it's all plastic paneling, all sides. There's no walls to dig through. There's no floor. There's no roof. It's just in a big chasm, suspended in the middle.
Yeah.
Put everyone in one of those.
It's so easy.
Yeah, treat everyone like they're Magneto.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times we have to say that before people learn.
The problem is, plastic's got to be so much easier to break.
Oh, yeah. You could probably do glass. They use plastic for him, I guess, because it's the least like metal. I don't know why they use plastic.
I mean, I still feel like you could...
But you can't hide that. If you break glass and you have an alarm for when you break the glass.
Yeah.
Whereas stone you can chip at over years, which is what he did in the Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that it's unbreakable, though you could probably get pretty unbreakable glass, but you could just set up a system where it's if this breaks it all, the alarm goes off and everyone knows.
Yeah. There's so many ways they could have got around this. All right. Treat everybody like they're going to break out. Yeah.
Or like their Magneto.
Like their Magneto. All right, Canberra, I think we should get into Ask Reddit.
All right.
Ask Reddit. This Ask Reddit. Okay, we're going to do something a little bit different here.
I am opposed to any difference because if you go back to episode 1 of this show, it's shockingly similar to this episode right now.
Yeah, but you will also remember we have every now and again we get a little bit outside our comfort zone, and then we quickly go back inside. Obviously,
we hate it every time.
Yeah.
But I will allow you this one diversion.
Do you remember the time that I said maybe a new segment could be comment of the week? And I did one episode and 1 week. I said this was a funny comment.
Yeah.
And you were like, yeah, it was. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Let's never do that again.
It was the worst episode we've ever done.
It was terrible. Anyway, so what we're going to do is this is a question that has several questions on the inside.
Okay.
This is by Emil Jorgensen, 05. Women, what are some questions you've always wanted to ask men?
Oh my God, Nelson. We're too bloody men.
Oh my God, we're men. As far as the law is concerned.
Yeah. Fire away.
Okay, so
We're open books.
we are open books. This is going to educate so many women. Because you need a man to do that, obviously.
I think that here's the thing. Our tagline is the audible, auditory version of Reddit.
Yeah.
I think it should be Reddit on Reddit, educating women.
Educating women. Okay. This first one is by Auden Gilsum. Do men gossips? I'm going to say gossip. Do men gossip with other men about their ladies' skills in bed?
Look, it's hard to answer for every man, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I would say largely no.
Yeah, I reckon largely no.
Yeah.
At least like in my circle of friends, which obviously is not that many. I'm sure there's a lot of guys out there that get into detail, but they're also like those guys also probably don't respect women like the healthy, normal people do.
And we obviously do, because we do nothing but educate women.
We educate them. You can't get more respecting of women.
I would say that maybe this speaks to the company that we keep more than anything, but often guys are infuriatingly hard to get details out of. So you'd be like, hey, you always saw you were with that foxy young girl last night. How was she in bed? And they're like, yeah, pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, oh, right. Oh.
That's true. Yeah. I feel like there is just a bit more of like there's a bit more of a like elbow nudge. Good work, buddy. And we're like, thanks. And that's kind of it.
Yeah.
That's as far as we'll go. Because to be honest, I don't want to ask you details of like your sex with Stacy or just any other partner you've had in the past.
Yeah.
I don't want to. Why would I want to hear about
And I
that?
am hoping to have sex with Stacy one day.
Yeah. And on that day, I won't ask about it.
Thank you.
But
I might tell you that.
I'll give you an elbow nudge. But yeah, I just don't think it's like. I think though, there's ideas of guys that will want to have a threesome.
Yep.
Like it's a fantasy of theirs to have a threesome with another guy friend of theirs and a girl.
Yeah.
Like I think those guys probably have this gossip conversation about how was your sex in detail.
Yeah, okay.
But
And I think that as well, we're like I said, it's maybe the company that we keep, but also maybe we're being somewhat led by the fact that like we're talking about, I suppose, the cliche Aussie bloke, which is the very standoffish, like, oh very few details.
Yeah.
But who knows? Like other cultures, maybe they do gossip all the time.
Yeah, that's true. It could be the case. Oh, but here's the other thing. It said about their ladies' skills in bed. I don't think about sex involving skill. Maybe I'm doing it wrong.
But
I'm not like, oh my God, she did that thing where, she did the handstand for 3 minutes. And I'd be like, oh yeah, I love it. I love that movie.
yeah.
I love that skill that those women do sometimes.
Here is maybe the sad fact about like the fragility of masculinity, which is that the kind of guys that might brag and gossip, they don't talk about the girl's skill. They talk about their skill. They're like, you should have seen me in bed.
Yeah.
I was really giving it to it. Like it's all about them and never about the girl, which is something I think that is like a really odd thing.
Yeah. I'm always telling you about how I lasted more than 3 minutes, Kevin.
You can check. I timed it 3:20.
Yeah. 3:01. I left a few seconds longer before I pulled out. Okay, here's another one. This is by Iridescent Felines. Do men ever fake moan? Like, it's not great, but you don't want to make her feel bad, so you fake moan like girls do. Girls do it? Oh my God! Oh, educating men, apparently, is this show's about. What do you think?
I'm sure men have.
Yeah.
I'm positive that men have. I think it's probably far less common.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there must be situations that is just awkward, perhaps.
Yeah.
Like, even if it was dead silent.
Yeah.
Right? If that was the situation, I would probably fake moan to be like, got to put some noise in here.
Somebody's got to be, yeah. I need the neighbors
instead of just
to
like... So you're not just hearing that. You'd probably go...
Yeah.
Men would be more grunts, wouldn't it? Because we're fucking apes. Like,
yeah. Well,
like I don't think it would be like the kind of moan. it would be like weird grunt noises, like a pig.
Yeah. like a pig. Wait, does that mean? Because I took this as, I mean, they're saying you have a fake moan, but I think I will not as often, but I will occasionally real moan.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like...
Oh, yeah. I'm taking real moans / grunts / snorts as read.
Okay,
And the idea is like, perhaps like your body isn't naturally making those noises, but you want to encourage whoever you're with, their confidence. Would you fake moan to do that?
Yeah.
I would say, like guys probably do a bit. I mean, guys are also probably far more selfish in bed than women, so it'd be a far less likely occurrence.
I have faked moaned. Faked moaned. Is that correct?
Fake moaned.
Fake moan. Faked is not a word, right? Fake? Is that also the
faked
past
is a word, but in this particular instance, it would be fake moaned.
Oh, yeah, I've used two past. Yeah.
Faked moaned is incorrect.
This show teaches English. Not me, obviously. I do very terrible. I do dumb English things, and you correct them. Faked moan. What the fuck was I thinking? Anyway, because I had a partner that said they found that quite attractive. A bit of a turn on in bed. I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll just...
Easy. That's an easy win.
Easy win. Yeah. Oh, I've been doing sit-ups. You're saying all I have to do is fake moan.
It'd be really funny if she's like, to be specific, what I find attractive is fake moans.
Yeah.
I need to be able to tell that they're fake.
You have to do like, like they're really unnatural kind of. Yeah. Okay, here's another one. This is by AC Leafio. During winter time, does your dick ever feel cold? And if it does, how does it react?
Well,
is it stiff like a boner or just sags like a bag of ice?
Oh, I wish it was either of those options.
Yeah.
They are obviously not familiar with perhaps the Seinfeld episode about this subject.
Yeah.
Which is about the idea of shrinkage. I wish it sagged. Sagged would be great. It sags in the heat.
Yeah. Well, I feel like, I feel like, does it sag? I feel like your balls sag a lot more in the heat.
Yeah, that's true. Not your penis so much.
Yeah. Penis is kind of... But I think this is an interesting concept of like, does it ever feel cold? And it's not something that I feel like I've ever thought about before.
I would say not like your fingers and your toes get closed.
Yeah.
Get cold because often they're unsheathed. But I would say constantly sheathed, at least it should be legally speaking, especially in public.
Yeah.
Your penis is always like layer upon layer normally.
Yeah. So it gives you a little bit extra warmth.
Yeah.
So it's not ever the standout thing for you to be like, oh my God, my penis is cold today.
Yeah. I would say it's similar to like your nipples. Like you can make your nipples cold, but if I'm cold, I'm never like, oh, my nipples are so cold. I just feel cold generally.
But I feel like some people will say that their nipples are cold in a more irregular sense than the rest of the body. I feel like if I'm just totally naked and it's a bit cold, my junk will just feel the same cold temperature as everything else. It's just not stand out.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like... I think your extremities, like your fingers and your toes, you get a specific kind of coldness in them.
Yeah.
But I don't think genitals really do that.
Yeah. But also I wonder actually if it technically is... because our balls specifically... they like retract a little bit because that's the whole idea, to warm it up, because with our men's bodies
create
are
that
meant
seed.
to like always keep the possibility that we might procreate at any moment. Our body is prepared for it, and so I wonder if then maybe it is ever so slightly warmer. Again, not that I've thought about this,
okay, I see
but
what you're
maybe
saying.
by a technicality. Which is why we don't think about it so much.
Yeah, you could be right. Because like temperature control is a big part of male genitalia.
Yeah.
And you're right, maybe it is actually quite temperature controlled just around that whole region.
Yeah.
Hence why we don't generally have it feel any colder than anywhere else on our body.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm just imagining, like, what if one of our family members decides to listen to this show for the first time?
Yeah. Well, if they're a woman, they'd be educated. Okay. Okay, here's another one. I am a cashier. Oh, this is by, Noble 22. I'm a cashier and I try to compliment guys as much as I can at work since I have a brother and he says he never gets complimented. Do you guys like non-creepy compliments from strangers?
Oh, non-creepy. Yeah. I guess so.
Yeah, I guess so.
I
mean, I don't... Yeah, well, yeah, okay.
Well, I would say that, yeah, men probably do get complimented less, appearance-wise at least. But generally, when women are getting complimented appearance-wise, I would say probably 4 out of 5 of them are less welcome than the person doing the compliment thinks they are.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, say you're seeing a friend, you meet up, and you go, oh, you look great. That one's fine.
Yeah.
Cashier being like, I like your hair.
Yeah.
Less complimentary than perhaps you think it is.
Yeah.
And
do you know what?
Just
unless I reckon it's a bit more out there. I would feel more confident saying, oh, cool hair to a stranger woman who has like
interesting
a pink dyed, afro going on or something like that. Because it's like, she's probably done that for the sake of, being noticed as having that feature.
I don't think you dye your hair bright pink.
Yeah.
With the notion that if someone says, hey, I love your hair, you go, how dare you?
Yeah. Whoa. Come off it. I'm taken. But as a guy complimenting you, I feel much more uncomfortable doing it. I would do it to friends, definitely, if I see them like, oh, nice dress or whatever, But if it's a stranger, much harder to do so. But as a guy receiving the compliment, I think I'm always fine with it. Yeah. I am going to probably assume you're flirting with me a little bit. Right? So I think just naturally. I can't help it.
I think, and maybe this will
be... My loins are always ready for procreation.
You're ready to procreate.
Just like my mind.
At a moment's notice. But I think maybe this helps the person that posted it. But yeah, I think that if a guy gets complimented specifically about like, oh, you look very nice today. Yeah. It puts a little spring in their step.
Yeah.
Whereas I think girls get it maybe in an overabundance from maybe unwelcome sources.
Yeah.
But the opposite, it seems to have far less creep to it.
Yeah.
Like, what would need to be a compliment that would creep you out from a complete stranger? I think it's a bit harder to creep a guy out.
Yeah, I don't know if there is. I don't think there's.
It'd need to be something really, really oddly specific, like you have beautiful knuckles.
No, even then I would just be like, well, you're just fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it wouldn't creep you
it
out.
wouldn't creep me out.
Yeah.
I would just be like, there is sort of nothing, not a quick, like, compliment like that. If they were constantly staring at my knuckles without saying anything for a long period of time, then maybe I'd be like, okay, I'm getting a bit creeped out by this. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it's not quite the same way reversed. I kind of like these ones. So let's
keep going. Yeah, that's fine.
another one. Yeah, okay. This is by Angel.
Angel Angel?
I corrected my own English on this one. Do you know why, Canberra? Because angels put gel in their hair.
Is that how you remember it? Is that the
That's
little...
how you remember.
I just remember how it's spelled.
Yeah. This is Angel Orphan, actually, is the name.
Angle Orphan would be a good name, though.
Angle Orphan. No, I don't think so. Do you feel balls swing?
Sometimes. I would say less than you would imagine we do.
Yeah, I think it's definitely way
Yeah.
less. And I think, kind of what we mentioned before, if it's very hot weather,
Oh, they swing.
then yes.
Yeah.
But I think anything that's like slightly less than pretty hot weather,
Yep.
they don't really swing at all.
No, not really. Because again, they actually kind of go up into your body.
Yeah.
Unless
Yeah.
states of arousal or heat, they'll descend more.
Yeah.
But they're a little tighter in downtime than they are in hot weather. But here's a factor I don't think maybe they've considered is the swing isn't necessarily the problem. It's the stick. Because going side to side, sometimes skin on skin in heat will like adhere to each other.
Yeah.
And you do get ball stick
Yeah.
on your leg.
Yeah, that's right.
Which I
We
think
have to
but that does
readjust
kind
quite
of
often.
stop the swing.
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes you have to get a spatula down there and
Yeah.
pry it apart.
Guys will often, if you go to like a bachelor's house, they'll have 2 spatulas.
Yeah.
And there's one that you don't want to use, and the other one's fine for cooking.
Yeah. We
Same drawer, obviously.
Yeah.
We know which one's which.
Because you want to know where the
Yeah.
spatula is. Okay, we should probably let's move on from this. Let's get into Today I Advise. So now it's time for Today I Learned. Today I Learned. And also sometimes advice. This Today I Learned was cross-posted to us by Metaphor, but it was originally by King Flares. King Farouk of Egypt, the Pickpocket King, infamous for stealing Winston Churchill's pocket watch, he was a known kleptomaniac and would steal from several rulers. Upon escaping from Egypt, authorities found the world's largest porn collection at the time among his belongings. Escaping from Egypt. I've only just realized now, I obviously haven't looked into this person's history at all. They were a king, but then for some reason also had to escape.
Yeah. This guy sounds fascinating.
Yeah.
I love the idea of a kleptomaniac king.
Yes, so do I. I think that's why I put it in here.
I mean, kleptomania generally is you don't have to steal anyway, but he really doesn't have to steal. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I think that's the idea. Like, I love the idea that I one day become so rich and money is no object.
Yeah.
And everything just becomes a ball.
Yeah,
and I'm like, well, I'm just going to try and steal stuff. But I would go to like crazy lengths, I think. Like, I would try to hire a team of people to like just perform heists that I'm also involved in.
Essentially, you would put together your own Ocean's 11 style crew.
Yeah.
But you're like, I don't need the money from the 3 casinos. I just want it.
Well, I think that I wouldn't even steal from lucrative places.
Right.
Like I would go to just like a JB Hi-Fi or like an electronics store.
Yeah.
You know, something that's just sort of local. that I kind of want to steal from. Or maybe I would do a Robin Hood style approach, actually. And as an example, there has been people that I've been quite angry with that have bought lots of PlayStation 5s or the new Xbox.
Yep.
And then hawking them for more than they're worth. And it'd be great to like break into those people's houses and steal those PlayStations back, and then like maybe give them away or whatever. Like I would love to do that. I mean, I'd love to do that now, but the fear of just sort of getting caught and not having enough money for a lawyer to be like,
you want to be able to do it with the security of being the monarch of the country.
Yeah, that's right.
So I think what I would want to do is be one of those real gentleman thief types. They're like, I'll steal a diamond from a museum.
Yeah.
And then I'll leave it outside. And they'll be like, oh, this bloody rascal, how does he do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those kind of like, the real elusive, like, who is this guy kind of thing.
Yeah. He doesn't actually
I'd be like the
anything.
Banksy of heists.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I always very publicly state what I've done. Maybe there's political statements behind it. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, you know what I think you should do is you should go into these really expensive places. Like, let's say take the Melbourne Museum, for example.
Sure.
You go in, you steal a painting, you leave it out in the front.
Yeah.
But also, one of the vending machines, you've taken all the chips.
Yeah.
So
and they don't get returned.
Yeah. They don't get returned.
Yeah.
And they're like, this is just the most bizarre heist ever.
Like,
we're annoyed that we have to refill this vending machine.
Okay. Here's what I think it is. Because every criminal worth their weight has like a calling card.
Yeah.
And my calling card is there's a larger heist in which I steal something really big but then return it.
Yeah.
But inside of that heist is a smaller heist in which I don't return the item.
Yeah.
But you need to find out what I also stole.
Yeah.
So like,
they
say,
turn
for instance,
up and they're like, oh no, our most expensive painting is out of
the Melbourne Museum, very famous, has like a big whale. It's suspended from the ceiling.
Yeah.
So I would want that as my big showpiece. Steal the big whale, put it out the front.
Yeah.
But also I've taken maybe like one of the smaller stuffed animals in their little nature exhibit as well, and that's not being returned.
How about this? No chairs in the cafe.
Yeah, I like the idea that it's real. It's real.
It's like an inconvenience.
Yeah. Because, stealing the animal, that would be hard to replace. Chairs aren't hard to replace.
Yeah.
It's just annoying.
It's just so annoying.
Yeah.
You open up one day. I mean, first you've got to reattach the whale. That's annoying in and of itself.
Yeah. It was like, it's so high up. Go grab a chair. We'll stand on the chair and put it up. No chairs, sir. What? No chairs.
No. Yeah. That'd be great.
Also, just as a side, King Cambo has a great ring to it.
King Cambo does have a great ring to it.
Sounds like a video game character. It's like solve puzzles with King Cambo.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, here's another one. This is some advice that somebody has not asked us for, but
we'll give it. We'll give the advice.
It's how it works. This is by Snoo Lobsters 4972. A local extremist church didn't keep up with their domain names, so I bought them. They explain a little bit more. I have zero stance on religion because it's not my business. However, this church is known for refuting science absolutely, causing members to make bad financial investments and aiding in the spread of misinformation. Currently, our country has the highest COVID numbers and deaths in our state. This particular church encourages their members to not wear masks because Satan is a liar. Those two things don't even match. They also force young members that have unplanned pregnancies to come full term, and the church pastors keep the babies.
What?
There have been several reports of sexual misconduct in the name of the Lord.
Well, that's just church 101.
Yeah. I mean, that goes on in every church. Where one pastor will heal you if you perform fellatio. You know what? That's a bit new.
That is a new one.
I thought that sounded, but that's a nice take on it, isn't it? It's fucking weird. Now that I explained why I bought the domain names, what do I do with them? I first thought it was to redirect them to Planned Parenthood site, but that's just what I came up with.
Yep.
I'm going to drive to work. What do I do now?
Okay, where do you redirect the extremist, bigoted church.
Yeah. Oh,
I would just go full satanic.
full satanic.
Because then they would, if they fully believe what they're preaching, they would believe that Satan did it.
Yeah.
And I think I would find it quite amusing to really convince them that Satan has got a real bee in his bonnet about this particular church.
Yeah. Oh, but then they'll have to perform so much more fellatio, can't they? In order to cleanse the church.
We do want to
Satanism.
lessen the amount of fellatio going on in that church.
Yeah. I mean, I would like the idea of, I think redirecting it is too easy and not the best way to get back at them. I think you need to like slowly manipulate their website. It just starts off the same.
But the thing is, he doesn't have access to their website. He has access to their domain.
I feel like you could probably copy it though.
Oh, right. So
Assuming
so you
that
kind of
is-
make a clone of their website.
Yeah.
Oh, I like
Could you do
that.
that after the fact? Yeah, I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure
No,
you
no,
could
I
sort of
like
work
this
it out.
idea. You clone their website.
Yeah.
Hosted it in their domain that you've purchased.
Yeah, because
and
then they won't
start-
think anything's wrong straight away.
And then you start altering things, being like, maybe there's a blog post being like, Satan, is he that bad? You know, like,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Just little bits here and there.
yeah.
I like the idea as well that presumably they've got some sort of like PayPal system to, so that you can donate to the church. But I like that if you just changed the back end of that where it goes to some sort of charity like Planned Parenthood or something where they don't realize that's what they're donating to constantly.
You know what I would be interested in doing is cloning the church website so it looks exactly alike, and then just posting unrelated content like, I don't know, movie reviews. And see how long it takes them to go,
Wait a second.
They've been talking about, he's just reviewing new release films.
Yeah. Exactly. I feel like this is better off as a slow burn.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Like the slow burn in hell that you'll surely receive from doing this.
If
This church had anything to say about it.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, because Satan is real and you haven't given enough fellatio to the priest. I mean, surely you could slowly... What if you could turn different priests against each other? I don't know how big this church is.
Yeah, okay.
But what if you put an article out that looks like it's coming from one priest against another priest, like saying that, he isn't really healing you. You're just giving him a blowjob.
What? Okay.
And then I think that you need to tear this church apart, is all I'm saying.
I think what I would do is we're definitely cloning the website.
Yeah.
And slow burn, but what I would start doing is reposting articles about the church that are negative. So say it's like reports of sexual misconduct in this one particular church. Reposting on their website being like, lol, whoops. You know,
Yeah.
So it just looks like this church is being super flippant, being like, oh, whoopsie doosey, you know.
Yeah. Or just like defenses that aren't good enough. Like you share the article and you pretend to defend it.
Yeah.
And you be like, I didn't even get the blowjob for that long.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Where they're just like, somebody that's reading is like, wait, that's not a real good defense about what
I think
here.
I would go super satirical with it.
Yeah. That's good. I can't believe that like these sort of churches and bullshit still exist. Like I just don't understand. I know obviously we're both atheists, so that's kind of part of the problem. But for things that are like, why do you think that a church can tell you not to wear a mask, right? Like just something even as simple as that. Is like, but what do you mean by that? Why do you think that, like, if you believe in God, and I know that these are like extremist, right? Because you can be religious and not have these stupid, thoughts. But it's like, if God, God is behind science. If you believe in God, God is behind science and the way that the world works. Like you can't refute that really. So
Well, you can.
some people can. Yeah. Well, I suppose the way to refute it is like they've done and be like, oh no, that's Satan's doing.
Which is the problem with, religious texts by their nature are quite vague. And in the vagueness is a lot of gray area to really manipulate. So the phrase that gets so much over the line is God works in mysterious ways. What a gift that phrase has been to all kinds of religious persecution. You're like, oh, well, why is this particular family who are devout Catholics, they're really struggling and their son's been so ill and they've got all these financial, and then, oh, well, God does work in mysterious ways. It's like, but you didn't answer the question. And so I think the work of the devil, in quotation marks, is another one of those gray areas that's done a lot of heavy lifting.
But I mean, if I had to just put this out there, right? If I had to categorize things as done by Satan and done by not Satan. Done by Satan, coronavirus. Not done by Satan, the mask.
It's
like you would. Why? The only thing I can think about is, okay, if Satan said that, oh, he's trying to force everybody to wear masks, then that means that God definitely made coronavirus.
Because
and Nelson, he wants you to die.
because God works in mysterious ways.
He does work in mysterious ways, though.
So weird to be on the side of coronavirus.
I know. It's like, what? It's so bizarre. Anyway. Okay, Kimber, let's get into shower thoughts.
Shower thoughts, shower thoughts, shower thoughts, shower thoughts.
This shower thought was cross-posted to us by Nom 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 Nation, but it was originally by Edge Me Meston. Gummy worms have more bones in them than actual worms.
Well, okay, so I saw this throughout the week.
And
I saw it, and I've even seen in the show notes, it's listed as like a super shower thought or something.
Excellent shower thought.
Excellent shower thought.
Who gets to decide that, by the way?
But also, it's like, I understand the joke. But it's such a nothing thing, because like gelatin has all kinds of shit in it, right? Specifically bone.
Yes.
But
yeah, okay.
Like I don't know. There's something about it that is like, if worms were known to have, like, I don't know. There's nothing there for me to purchase. You know what I mean? It's like, because I'd never really associated worms with bones in the first place. To be like, oh, so it makes complete sense to me that a gummy worm would have more bone. You know what I mean?
It's like saying, gummy worms have more eyes than real worms. Because somebody's just designed that way. But it's like, well, I wasn't really thinking about it. These are kind of irrelevant things to each other.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's like, what that is a thought that is interesting, but not in a way that makes you go, oh my God. You know what I mean? Which is kind of what shower thoughts are supposed to do.
Like totally change your perspective on things. Because, that's a good point. And in fact, here's another fun fact. Gelatin, not always made from bones. In fact, I know there was something, I can't remember, I was like listening to something, watching something, dreamt it, who knows? But there is like some bugs that their like feces are used in gelatin, and it's like and it just like, comes out as this consistency, and it's not necessarily that sort of, not made from bones, and lots of different weird, like gelatin and jelly lollies in particular is the fact that he says gummy worms, because I think gummy worms is further away from gelatin. Even though they're sort of similar. I think gummy worms are more made from these like weird insect things and other stuff. So
you could say that a gummy worm has more feces than a regular worm.
True.
Yeah.
So mind opening. Can I just tell you, I love good gummy worm or gummy lolly. That's my go-to candy.
Yeah, okay.
It's a gummy thing.
Why in particular? Why gummy?
Because I think I
mean, sugar, obviously.
Yeah, sugar.
Yeah.
Actually, now that I think about it,
Sugar is
just-
super addictive, and I
just
like
sugar.
eating it. Yeah.
No, I like to know that the candy I eat, some living being has suffered in one way or another. Okay? Chocolate. What? Just
you
a
would-
plant? Oh,
You
boring.
would love Nutella.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
deforestation that goes on to make Nutella.
Oh, yeah. Many an ape has died.
You're many an ape.
Yeah.
Red, that's sweet palm oil. Oh, yum.
Oh, boy. Nutella is yum, though.
Yeah. And by the way, if you think we're joking, definitely look into that.
Yeah. It's really horrible.
It's really
what
horrible.
they do.
But Nutella, yum.
Yum. Name something that is yum that an animal hasn't suffered for.
The only thing I could think of, but I think there's probably even a caveat for this, is like I could enjoy a nice fruit salad, but in order to have like a big farm, like to really produce that, you probably get like industrial farming.
You probably kill
in which
a lot of
point
stuff. Yeah.
you're probably clearing land for animals.
Yeah.
To put up this these rows of apple trees or whatever.
Yeah, that's exactly true. Okay, I remember hearing this thing once that was about. It was like, I mean, it was a dumb article. It was like anti-vegan propaganda, and
So propaganda against vegans.
yes,
Okay, interesting. Yeah.
yeah, doesn't happen often, I guess. No, I think it happens a lot. People hate vegans for some reason.
They really do.
Yeah.
Which is like, oh, so you think you're morally better than me? Fuck you.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things where the like, honestly, it's the meat industry that has swayed media and the perception of vegans so poor. Or I don't want to say vegans, because there are actually like extreme vegans that do kind of like want to hate on you for eating meat.
Yeah.
But the idea of just the diet of veganism is like actually pretty healthy for you.
Well, here's the thing. Like, there's a lot of celebrities that are vegan, and all of them look great. Like Jared Leto. Bad dude, but fantastic looking guy for a guy that's like 46, 47 years old. He looks in his late 20s. He's been a vegan for like 20 years. Miley Cyrus. Like, there's a bunch of really well-known vegans that look fantastic. And what I find really weird is, like, neither of us are vegan, nor are we even vegetarian. But this weird thing is, like, there are these, like, kind of, I guess, let's call them meat bros. That will spout off about everything that's wrong with veganism, being like, you're not getting enough iron or whatever. It's like, but that's their choice. Like,
well, it's not. That's just shit's not even true. That's kind of my point of like the thing that the meat industry, big meat as I like to call them.
But we can't call them Big M here, because that's a different thing here. Yum.
Has said, vegans don't get enough iron and they're dying from the amount. And it's like, well, actually, you got, like, if you're a picky eater, if you're a picky vegan eater, that might be true. But a lot of dark leafy plants have a lot of iron in them. So you're absolutely getting the right, resources from that. And there's a lot of just different vegetables that actually contain everything you need, and you don't need to eat meat to get these benefits. So
I think, as an example, I'm fairly certain that Rob Lowe is a vegan, right? And in this situation where they're not getting enough iron, they're so just like, look at Rob Lowe, and everyone's like, he looks great. He's so good looking. It's crazy.
But I think I started off with another point about that. About big meat.
About big meat.
But yes, there's just nothing wrong with veganism. Oh no, it was about that article that was like, propaganda against vegans. And they were saying, oh, well, do you know the farming of like plants, there's a lot of gophers that will be on this farmland, and the machinery used to harvest the plant, the wheat or whatever, will naturally kill these gophers as it goes past. And we've done the numbers, trust us. It's more than any other animal-based farm or some stupid thing like that. And you're like, this is a dumb thing that you're trying to convince people.
Yeah. It's like, they're positing that there will be some gophers that die from wheat harvesting devices, more so than a chicken farm that is set up to raise chickens. Injected, like this is like, it's truly awful. They inject these chickens with so many steroids to grow them so large to get as much chicken from them as possible. That they can't walk because they're so heavy on their legs. And then they kill them en masse. And they're trying to claim that more gophers will die.
But the gophers can.
And that's one of the many meat industries.
But God, chicken tastes good, doesn't it?
Could we say this show is pro-vegan but not vegan?
Yes, absolutely.
We're all for it. We're not, but we're all for it.
I did go vegan for quite a few months, maybe 3 or 4 months. The only reason why I didn't keep up with it, and I still probably eat more vegan meals than I used to, is just because I don't have that much of a repertoire for like cooking vegan only meals. Like I'm just not a good enough cook because I grew up in a family that cooks meat, so I know how to cook meat a bazillion different ways, but I can't quite do the same and have a good tasting meat.
With like you don't have the same amount of variety in meals in your head for like eggplant.
That's a great example. I love eggplant pasta, but then any other eggplant meal kind of tastes the same to me.
Because you prepare it in exactly the same way.
We only did one shower for that. What's the time? How are we going? We're fine. We can do one more.
Okay.
Okay, this one is by Alexander Rote. Dads tell cheesy jokes, not because humor gets worse with age, but because the more life experience you have, the more value you place on anything that might make someone laugh, even if it's at your own expense.
I think as well that there is, especially maybe with our generation, a very keen interest in being able to pull off the dad joke. Like, I think it's like almost at a mythical proportion now with our generation that maybe even like kind of popularized the phrase dad joke. Or like maybe Generation X before us. But where like, I know people that are becoming parents now that are like, you know, the best thing is dad jokes.
Dad jokes.
Like it's like it feels like a rite of passage more than anything else as well. More than like this very philanthropic thing of being like, this is the way to make the world laugh. Well, it's more just like, I can get away with it. I've always wanted to do it, but now I've got an excuse.
Much the way that you poo-pooed the gummy worm shower thought. I want to poo-poo this shower thought. I think it is bizarre that somebody doesn't understand dad jokes and felt like they had to psychoanalyze them so much that they were like, no, it's about the life experience you have and you value that you might make somebody laugh even if it's your own expense. Like, what are you talking about? Dad jokes are funny. Like, they are funny jokes. They're like any other joke, but the funny thing about them is that they're bad. Like, and that is just a genre of comedy. And it's just another joke. Why do people tell dad jokes? Just because they're funny.
But that's also, like, look, if you're going to psychoanalyze dad jokes, I think this is the wrong take. I think the take would be that when your kid is 5, those jokes probably are really funny to them. And you get a real positive reaction from those kinds of jokes. That it sticks in your mind that kind of a joke would get a positive reaction. That's a more apt, delve into the psychology behind it. But even then, I think that I'm full of shit.
I just thought that somebody felt as though they had to go to the extent to explain dad jokes. To me, that did not require an explanation.
I would have loved to be like, this is why I think that dad jokes were, and I'm serious. And someone goes, "G'day, serious? I'm your dad."
Yeah. Great dad joke. Because even the started this. They said, dads tell cheesy jokes not because humor gets worse with age. Do they think that there's people out there that go, oh, dads just, their humor gets worse? What moron thinks that somebody's humor thinks that somebody else's humor gets worse with age?
It's like Billy Connolly. It's like, oh yeah, the older he got, the less funny he got. No, he was always funny. He just got older.
Yeah.
His humor didn't get worse.
Yeah. Oh my God. Anyway, let's get into podnapping.
Oh my God, I'm being podnapped.
Podnapping.
This is Podnapping, where we nap a pod. We take a segment from another podcast or a topic of conversation and we do it ourselves.
It's been a minute, Nelson. I don't blame you for not quite remembering the intro. It's the long-awaited return of podnapping.
That's right.
And even though, Nelson, I technically did a podnapping last week, which everyone will remember, it is technically my turn again. I've taken a recommendation.
It's just technically your turn. Not again.
Oh, turn Schmidt. I've taken a recommendation from our Discord. We actually have a podnapping suggestion section on our thing. So I've got one from here.
I quite often forget about.
Got one here from Varun. He said, test how much you guys know each other. And there was also, I couldn't find this one, but someone had suggested specifically the Newlywed Game.
Yeah.
Which is more or less the same thing. So I'm sure most people are familiar, but we'll refresh them. The idea is such that Nelson and I will take turns in asking each other a question.
Yeah.
And we have pre-answered what we think the answer will be, and we're going to test how much we learn. So, for example, I've got an example question here, just to show people how it will work.
Yeah.
I have an answer that I think you will answer anyway.
Okay.
To see how in line we are. The test question.
Can I guess the answer before? No, it's a test question.
Is who is your celebrity crush?
Sarah Michelle Gellar. I was going to say Sarah Michelle Gellar before you even answered because I knew that's what it was going to be.
Nelson and I had written Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Yeah.
So the idea is I know you so well. We're so in sync that I would be able to tell if someone said, who is Nelson's celebrity crush? I could answer on his behalf.
Yeah. Okay.
So that is basically how it works. So yeah, we've adapted it somewhat where I will ask Nelson a question. I've written down what I think he will answer.
Yeah.
And we'll see whether my answer aligns with his actual answer.
Yes.
And then you will ask me a question, the same thing.
Yeah.
Are you ready to go?
Okay. Yeah.
So I have just gone onto brides.com.
Yeah.
And I've picked out just some of the most popular newlywed questions. Okay. So question 1. Which celebrity couple are we most like?
Which celebrity couple are we most like? That is a difficult question because I'm not very good with celebrities, let alone couples. But here's what I'm going to say, and this is maybe crazy. Purely from one stance that you'll understand immediately as I say it. Yeah. I'm going to say Ellen and Portia.
Oh, okay. In what sense?
Because they are the same sex and so are we.
Oh, right.
And they are a famous couple. Also, I could host a very successful TV show as a talk show.
And I could be your wife.
And you could be my wife. Because that's how that relationship goes.
And if one of us is going to have a lot of allegations about abusing staff, it's you.
Oh, it's absolutely me. It's absolutely me. I'm really friendly to people's face. Friendly to people's face when I'm on TV. I mean, but as soon as the cameras are off, oh boy, am I a bitch.
Okay, so you've answered Alan and Portia de Rossi.
So I don't like that answer. I feel like you're going to say something, and I'll be like, yes, good answer.
Well, yeah. So we don't have the same answer here.
Yeah.
I had suspected you to try and find a loophole.
Ooh,
and
yeah.
I have written down a coupling, not necessarily a romantic one, that we get compared to.
Hamish and Andy.
Okay. I've written down Hamish and Andy.
Yeah.
So technicality, they are a coupling and they're often together and credited together.
That's true.
And I think a lot of our American listeners that are familiar with them hear the accents and go, "Oh, that's Hamish and Andy."
Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's
do it tit for tat.
Okay, all right. So mine is if your spouse, because I was also on some sort of bride's website, was a Disney character, who would they be? So what Disney character do you think I would be?
Yeah. Okay, so I need to give credit to Stacey for this one.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about this while you were writing them.
Okay.
And I think her answer is actually correct,
Okay.
which is Cruella de Vil. Because you dislike dogs
Oh, I dislike dogs.
so much.
Okay. I mean, I don't dislike dogs enough to...
Nelson, you have that dog skin coat.
Yeah. But I didn't kill 101 of them.
It took like 6.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's a pretty good one. I put, and this would be, I think, a difficult one for you to get, but I put lazy, as in
the
dwarf from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Oh, man, I tell you, I would have gone through so many Disney characters before I got to the dwarves.
Because it's so old.
Yeah.
I did think that. When I put that down, I was like, I don't think you're
And
going to
old
get this.
Disney movies are sad and weird, and I don't like them.
Yeah. I also thought about putting myself as Mufasa.
Oh. See, my first gut instinct for no reason in particular was Elsa. Who was the queen from Frozen.
Yeah.
And I just think I thought, who's a Disney character?
No, I'm okay with that too. I wish I could be Elsa.
So this one, this next one from brides.com is a very straightforward question. And I think I know the answer to it, but it's how many siblings do you have?
Okay. Well, I have. Wait, I can tell you how many I have. Have you put how many you think I have?
Yeah. I put how many I think you have.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I've got 3 siblings. I had to think about that. I've got 3 siblings.
I've
Yeah.
written down 3 with a question mark.
I would also say 3 with a question mark for you too.
Correct.
Okay, good. I almost said 4. I don't have a 4th.
See, if I actually wrote down 4, and then I'm like, nope, I'm including Nelson
Yeah.
in the 4.
Yeah. Well, I think that's why I almost
Yeah.
said 4, because I was including myself. Okay. If you won the lottery, what's the first thing you would buy together?
Now, together is the real key here.
Yeah. But I'm not sure if. Well, you just go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Because I think what we would buy together and what I would buy separately are different.
Okay. Yeah.
Together, I'm inclined to think it would be maybe a more legitimate podcast studio.
Okay. Yeah.
But individually,
Yeah.
it would be like a home theater.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I've written 3 answers for this one, which I know is not the game. But I will say, I put down podcasting computer.
Yep.
Because
sure.
actually we've been looking at getting that right now. So I'll say that's similar to the other thing. But the first one that I actually put down was Teslas.
Teslas. Of course, Teslas.
Like, it is individual, but we'd get one for both of us.
Yeah.
I think, like,
That's the podcast Tesla.
Yeah.
Because again, we would, as we've discussed, you can live and work out of a Tesla.
Yeah.
You can also podcast out of a Tesla.
So easy. Okay. But then my third one was other podcast hosts so we don't have to.
Outsource the show. Yeah. I'm into that.
Yeah.
In fact, if someone can do a pretty good impression of me, write in. I mean, I want to have that in my back pocket.
Yeah. We could get Hamish and Andy.
Oh my God. I bet they'll come cheap.
Yeah.
So here's the next one here from brides.com. What would be your ideal date? So it doesn't have to be a first date. You could know the person.
Yeah.
But what is the situation? What venue would you go to? What would be your idea of an ideal date?
Oh, man. I don't really super know what this would be for myself.
Let's say that you're taking out a girl that maybe you're not super familiar with, and you want to have fun, but also be like, this is a little bit of my personality.
Yeah. Well,
So
I mean,
like, would you go rock climbing? Because I don't necessarily think that necessarily reflects your kind of personality.
Yeah.
Being like, I'm always doing stuff like this because you're not. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, see, I think I'm just more of a simple person on a date, and I'm happy with like dinner on a movie.
Okay, so you're going the classic.
I think I'm just going to go the classic as like, that's the type of date I enjoy the most. There needs to be an activity of sorts, but not something that's like, you know, has the possibility of sucking, or like you still want to be like around your partner, you know, the little like hand holding in the cinema camera. That's so cute, you know?
Yeah.
And then dinner afterwards to discuss the movie, you know, just all in one.
Okay, so we're slightly out of sync here. I actually thought that you would choose something like one of those board game pubs or bars that people go to.
Yeah.
Or
See,
like one of those like arcade
because
style.
There's too much of the idea of like I think I would enjoy that. Maybe if somebody I was really comfortable with, I would. But as a kind of early on date, I don't like the idea of doing anything competitive. Like bowling and stuff. I don't like that as a... Because it's like,
what about,
do I let them win? Do I not? Oh, in fact, Hallie, who wrote into us a little while ago, went on a date. There was a board game date. And she said the guy just chose the most complicated board game and tried to win really heavily from the get-go.
I would say that the only problem you would face with the dinner and the movie date is the competitive nature of who watched the movie more.
Yeah. I do often say that.
Yeah. Because you really watch a movie.
Yeah. I sometimes just say things like, "Oh, did you notice the guy wearing a scarf in the background of the second act? Oh, you missed that guy, did you?"
Or will you just casually watch it?
Yeah.
Oh, a couple of continuity errors I picked up there. Did you see those?
Yeah. The drink was shorter in one scene and then a bit higher in the other. Yeah. Okay. This one's just a quick one. Who would win in an eating contest?
It's somewhat dependent on the food.
On the food, yeah.
But I would say a lot of them are trashy food.
Yeah.
In which I would say I would win.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting.
Okay.
Because I actually wrote meat.
Oh, really?
Only because, okay, I did think that food had a bit to do with it. But also because I think there's times where you've been like, oh, I'm full. Like we'll be eating at the same time.
Yeah.
And we'll eat the same thing. And you'll be like, oh, I'm full. But I'm like, oh, I can keep going.
Yeah. You do have the benefit of the big Italian belly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I eat literally whatever is on my plate, no matter how much is on there. It's a blessing and a curse.
Big Italian belly versus stock standard, like, I don't know, Scottish belly, whatever my heritage is.
Yeah. You've got a great liver.
Yeah.
But that's about it. Okay.
So, this next question from brides.com is, what is your hidden talent?
What is my hidden talent?
Yes.
Well, I think you might put down for me singing. Singing.
I wrote singing.
I
don't think it's your only hidden talent.
Oh, funnily enough, I was going to say I think it's because it's my only hidden talent.
No. I think that you're quite good at a few.
I can also
things,
watch a movie.
I think that is like, I guess, the most generic one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, it is almost a cliche hidden talent to be like, oh, but he can actually sing. You know?
Yeah. Okay.
Where it's like, if I can go like, you're like, someone might not assume that you're so good at Excel.
Yeah.
That is a far less kind of cliche common hidden talent.
That's true. Yeah. I am really good at Excel though. Just for any of the ladies listening.
You wrote that song about it.
Yeah. Excel. I like Excel.
I like that we just said that you can sing a little bit, and that's what you chose to just sing.
Yeah.
Excel.
It's a good song, Cameron. Yeah. What are you saying? Are you saying that one of my talents isn't songwriting?
I would never, because we wrote all the themes to this podcast.
Yeah. Okay, I'm almost certain you're not going to get this one, but I'm going to put it out there just as.
Can I just point out, so far we have not been very in sync.
Yeah, we have not. I feel like these are definitely more coupley for like questions though.
Yeah.
Like when you've dated somebody for long enough, even though we've been friends for many years, if you've been dating for even just a year, I think you can learn so many more like intimate things about each other. But anyway,
what we should have tested is your answers compared to Stacey's answers.
Yeah, that would have been interesting.
Scrap this. Scrap this whole segment.
Right. Well, you've got a podnapping and 2 podnappings time.
Sweet.
Okay. What is your spouse's favorite book?
Favorite book?
See, I don't think we've ever spoken about this.
Yeah.
Maybe one. I reckon maybe once on the podcast, probably.
Yeah, it's a good question. I feel like I'm projecting myself too much right now. Because I'm like, maybe he likes hitchhikers. And I'm like, oh, but I like hitchhikers.
Yeah,
That's the galaxy.
yeah.
But that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, your
I
favorite...
could maybe give you a clue.
Yeah, sure.
I
my first thing is it might be a non-fiction book.
Okay. Right. Incorrect. Okay. I wrote to the author.
Okay, yeah, I think I know what it is. Is it a book that you studied in high school? Or is it like a high school author kind of... Is it John Marsden?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
The question is which... He's got a few. It
Yeah.
makes me think that like a stunted adult, you may still have your favorite book is Tomorrow When the War Began.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I really like that one. But you know what? Probably very close second. I think I just have more fond memories of the Tomorrow When the War Began and that series.
Yeah, yeah.
It was probably like the first series that I really got into. So that became my most favorite book. But I think like Marching Powder, which I know we've both read, is a really great book as well. Like that's so interesting.
Yeah.
And a little bit depressing. But yeah, that would be a close second. But
Yeah, right. Okay. So, I mean, I would say that they are for an average Australian man in his 30s, fairly standard, like, favorite books.
Yeah,
Marching
yeah.
Powder, I feel like most people I know around our age are like, oh, yeah, Marching Powder's great.
yeah, it's true. Yeah.
And then Tomorrow When the War Began, yeah, we read that in at least in my high school.
See, I didn't, but my brother did.
Yeah. I feel like it's one of those books that you go to someone's house and it's always on their shelf.
Yeah.
Which again, both of these by Australian authors, so I don't know whether there's any recognition of either of these book titles to our international audience.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Interesting. Did you not have one more?
Oh, sorry, I do. Last question from brides.com. If money were no object, where would you live? So it can be anywhere in the world, anywhere in the country. Where would you live?
Where would I live? I think you'll get this one because I think we've spoken about this on the podcast.
Yep.
But it's here.
Melbourne.
Melbourne. Yeah.
I have written that. Melbourne, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that you are pretty comfortable where you are. You're
Yeah.
not like, one day I'll make it to New York. You know, like,
I think it's also because it's like I just don't know what the lifestyle would be.
Yeah.
Anyway, like there probably could be another place that I would prefer to live, but I don't know what that place
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
So I may as well just stick with
Yeah.
what I know.
and also, and we can't overstate this, all of our stuff is here.
Yeah. All of our stuff.
Yeah.
But like maybe I'd be okay living in Sweden, I reckon. I reckon I'd maybe like that too. But I don't know enough about Sweden to make that assumption.
But here's the thing. If money were no object, you could go live there for a bit and find out.
And find out. Yeah. Okay, my last one is if they were on Who Wants to Be... I've realized I've done this one wrong because I meant to say what you would say. Okay. You have to do this as the opposite,
Okay,
right?
yep.
Of what I would answer.
Okay.
If they were on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, who would their phone a friend be?
So if you were on...
If
Who-
I was
Yep.
on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, who would my phone a friend be? Sorry, I realized I effed this one up.
Probably... I'm going to say probably either your brother or your dad.
Okay, now think about loopholes.
Okay. Okay, how could I loophole phone a friend? It's someone very knowledgeable that you don't know personally. Am I on the right track here?
Sort of.
Loopholes. Is it some kind
Here's
of like...
the thing. Am I trying to win Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Maybe.
Oh no, this is throwing me. That has not helped. In fact, it has hindered my train of thought now.
Because you was thinking about intelligent people.
Yeah.
Like Stephen Hawking or something.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be
Which
hard
would
to phone
be,
him. If you could get him on the phone, that's impressive.
I think he was mainly computer. It's got to be around
You can
somewhere.
fake it. Hello, this is Stephen Hawking.
Exactly.
Would it makes me so now I feel like you're trying to sabotage Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
using it as a platform. Let's say.
Okay, would you call me so we could promote the show?
Oh, that would be great. That'd be great. No, what I've gone with is Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Oh, right.
If I'm going to have an opportunity to talk to Sarah Michelle Gellar, I'm going to take that opportunity.
So I was on the right track with someone famous that you don't personally know.
Yeah.
But I made the mistake of thinking that would be like a Neil deGrasse Tyson or something.
Yeah.
But really, you're trying to get your end away.
I'm just trying to contact because one of two things happens.
Yeah.
Is sure I try to win the $1 million. I've seen those questions, Cam, but far too hard for me. I'm not that intelligent.
Yep.
If I did win the $1 million, I would use all the money to go and meet Sarah Michelle Gellar.
And it's good because you could say, Sarah, I've recently come into a bit of money.
If you get this question right,
I could double the money, but if not, I can walk away with $500,000.
yeah.
The problem is if you have to use a lifeline when it's like $2,000.
Yeah.
Then it's less impressive to Sarah.
Yeah.
I'm sure she gets $20,000 for going to some Buffy convention.
Yeah, that's right.
You need to get more than a Buffy's convention worth, I think, to get her attention.
Yeah, that's true. Is that enough? Could I pay Sarah Michelle Gellar $1 million? Do you reckon she'd take it? If I'd be like, hey, I will
Depends
pay
what
you
you're trying to pay her
$1
for
a date. Dinner and a movie.
Yeah, I reckon she would. She would be crazy not to go for dinner and a movie.
But she's probably still pretty rich, right? She's probably pretty well off.
Here's the thing, though. I reckon she's not like the absolute, like, $70 million. She's probably got maybe, let's say, $7 to $8 million, which is a lot of money. But you can add an extra $1 million onto that.
Yeah.
With one night. If say Stacey was Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Yeah.
And she's like, some guy's going to pay me $1 million to go to see a movie and dinner. I'd be like, you absolutely have to go.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
are
right.
you crazy?
Yeah.
Please go to that.
Yeah. There would be caveats, obviously.
Yeah.
She has to feign interest the whole time. Like as if there is a possibility of a second date. Even though we both know there's not because I'm paying her $1 million for it. She has to make me think that I might get another chance.
Yeah. Like she does need to end of the night being like, oh, well, you make sure you call me. But she won't obviously give you her contact information.
Even have her number. Unless I've been on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire earlier and they've got her number. Yeah. I'm imagining that's how it happens, by the way. It's like, if you know the person, you give the number. If you don't know the person, they find the number for you.
She gives the number of her, like, the agency that represents her.
Yeah.
So then when you try and call up, they're like, Sarah Michelle Gellar is obviously busy. And she can't contact you.
Please connect me. I've only got 30 seconds left. Anywho, let's get into Ask Me Anything.
Okay.
Where listeners of the show, just like you, listener, can write in and ask us anything you want.
So we've got two here. I'm just now realizing now, I'm reading off a phone. So can you take the first one because you've got quite a lot of dense information for quite a small screen.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go to the second email, which says, "Hey, I'm Christian. You're Nunavut. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Correspondent from British Columbia, Canada."
Do you really hope that you pronounce that correctly?
No,
I feel like you don't care.
I've got relatives in Canada, so it would be a very, very, it would be a dishonor to my family to have pronounced it wrong. Correspondent from British Columbia, Canada, and my AMA is a two-part. 1, how many listeners do you actually have? And 2, completely unrelated, if you could telepathically tell one thing to everyone in the world at once, what would you say and why? Bye. Hope you read this on the podcast.
First of all, can't stress enough. We literally read every email.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody seems to be worried about like we're picking and choosing. We're just very behind on emails.
No. Here's the thing. I like this allure that people for some reason have that like, oh, I hope I'm good enough to get on.
Yeah.
But that is also why it takes literally weeks to get to most people's emails.
Exactly. Okay. So how many listeners do we actually have? Mm-hmm. 2 things here. Mm-hmm. 1, we actually sort of don't really know.
Yeah. That's the far less complicated answer is we don't totally know.
Yeah. The second thing is over 12 at least.
Yeah. But so here is a very brief explanation about the complicated nature of podcast analytics.
Yeah.
Which is that there's many different platforms, be it Spotify, be it Apple Podcasts, be it Podbean, which is the actual network that we host our show on that puts them onto all those networks, that don't love talking to each other.
Yeah.
So we have very fluffy numbers that we have no idea whether they account for Apple Podcasts or Spotify or any of that.
Because it's also about what do you classify as a listen?
Yeah.
Because if somebody listens for 5 seconds and they were like, oh, I thought this was the official Reddit podcast, it's obviously not. And then they stop listening, then do we get we don't know if we get a listen for that.
Yeah.
Or, if it's actually, and you don't have consistent numbers or anything. So it's, we don't really know.
And then there's also all kinds of weird, like from the top of my head, and I don't even know how accurate these numbers are. In the last 30 days, last time I checked, in America alone, I think there was 6,000 to 7,000.
Yeah.
But we don't know. It doesn't say any of those are repeat plays or one-time plays or unique plays. So we have no idea what that 6,000 to 7,000 number means in that one country, let alone all the other countries as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So more than 12.
More than 12. Definitely more than 12. If we could telepathically tell one thing to everyone in the world. So
Nelson, can I say one on your behalf?
Yeah.
You can telepathically put a message out.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? You want to meet Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Obviously.
So you go, this is Nelson. I'm in your head right now. If anyone out there has contact information for Sarah Michelle Gellar, send it to Nelson Allingham. That's readitpodcast at gmail.com.
Yeah. Or I'll kill you. Yeah. If you get in a voice in your head, you think that they will have that power.
Yeah, this is, I don't know, Satan or whatever your version of Satan might be.
It's definitely not Nelson, though.
But do contact Nelson with information about Sarah Michelle Gellar. Even though I said I'm Satan, not for evil purposes, obviously.
Yeah. That's very close to what I do. Yeah. Except I would just pretend that I am talking to Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Oh, so you'd be like,
because I'm in
Sarah.
her. Yeah.
Right.
Everybody else would just hear this conversation of me telling her how I used to watch Buffy as a young child.
So let's say I'm walking down the street as me.
Yeah. Yeah.
What message goes into my head?
Yeah. I'm like, hey, Sarah.
Weird.
I'm a real big fan of yours.
Fan of mine.
I watched you in Buffy at a young age, and
I think this is for Sarah Michelle.
You know
Gellar.
what? I know this is weird. But could you imagine?
I think I picked up telepathic waves meant for someone else.
The weirder thing would be, as you're walking down, you're having this, walking down the street, you're having this thought, and you look over and the guy in the car has pulled over, and he's also like...
I like the idea that you're looking at each other, and one of you mouthed Sarah Michelle Gellar, and the other one's like, yeah, I think so.
Yeah. But... Sarah Michelle Gellar is thinking like, oh my God, this is an individual message for me.
The problem, and this is a hurdle that will always have to be overcome with your relationship with Sarah Michelle Gellar, is her husband will hear the same message. So he's like, I know what's coming.
yeah, that's right.
And it's like, you put it at the end, it's like, and if this is Sarah's husband, this is a prank.
Yeah. I don't think there is one thing that I could say to Sarah Michelle Gellar that would convince her to see me. Oh, wait. Maybe if I just pretended I was some sort of deity. Yeah, I forgot about lying. I'm trying to honestly, meet her. But yeah, we had we actually had this one. Funnily enough, we had this one ages ago, as a like an Ask Reddit, I think. And then somebody tried to cross-post a repost of this question the other week, and now we've got it again as an email.
People are keen to know.
People really want to know, but I think in general we just plug this podcast.
Yeah, we're plugging the podcast, obviously.
Yeah.
Like it wouldn't necessarily be a voice message. Everyone in the world would just hear. Hello and welcome to Reddit on Reddit.
We do a whole episode.
Yeah.
Do you imagine how annoyed some people would be?
Yeah.
If you're just trying to mind your own business and then you just...
A podcast just starts in your head telepathically.
Yeah. Okay, I have this last one here.
Now, this is the long-awaited and teased update on Swiss Army knives that we promised last week.
Yeah. This is by Erasmus. He said, as far as my... Wait, I'm not sure if there was I think there might have been a subject heading that says something about Swiss Army knives.
Yeah. We should point out that even though he is from Sweden, we have also made him the correspondent of Switzerland.
Yeah, because
and
we
asked
get
him-
confused.
And asked him to investigate what's been going on with the Swiss Army knife.
Yeah. So he said, as far as my research is, they haven't gotten any bigger, but there are different sizes. I think they were always different sizes, right? Yeah. And he's put some images here.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
honestly-
There's a whole there's a whole bunch of different measurements. What does it start in? What does it end in? The measurement difference.
It starts with 58 millimeters.
Yep.
And ends with 130 millimeters.
What a difference.
There are various models of the Swiss Army knife with different tool combinations. Though Victorinox doesn't provide custom knives, they have produced many variations to suit individual users. I feel like he's copied some of their ad
I
copy.
don't think that's the case.
But here, okay. So when I first started reading this email, I was like, "Oh, this is quite long." But I genuinely got interested by the tools that were on the Swiss Army knife, so I'm just going to run through them for
Yeah,
you,
sure.
Cambo.
So these are different things you can get in a Swiss Army knife.
In a Swiss Army knife, large blade imprinted on the blade shank of Victorinox models with Victorinox Swiss made to verify the knife's authenticity. Small blade.
Yep.
Nail file / nail cleaner. Nail file / nail cleaner / metal file / metal saw.
Ooh.
It's weird that that's all one thing.
Yeah.
If I saw a little tool that looks like a metal saw, I wouldn't be like, could probably cut my nails with this.
Or clean them.
Or clean them. Wood saw. Who's cutting wood with it? Okay. Fish scaler. Actually, metal is more weird, right? Because I'm like, okay, maybe if you've got some kindling or something.
I feel like it's metal for like wire, for like a fence wire or something like that. I don't think you're not cutting through girders of metal.
Yeah.
I think it's like, small wire things that you can clip with your
I've
knife.
just never had to cut small bits of metal, I think.
But you're
It's
not a
my
real
issue.
Swedish man.
Yeah, that's true.
And I
Or
say
Swish.
No.
okay.
I say
just checking,
Swedish
just checking. It's
because-
fine. I understand, Camber. Fish scaler / hook disgorger / ruler. What? In centimeters and inches.
Yeah, so that means you can like gut a fish and be like, I gutted that 3 centimeters.
Yeah. Scissors. Electrician's blade / wire scraper. Pruning blade. Pharmaceutical spatula. What the hell is a pharmaceutical spatula? Or cuticle pusher. Okay. Cyber tool. Bit driver.
Wait, cyber tool? That's a vague expression.
That is very vague. Cyber tool. Okay. Oh my god, is this like the sonic screwdriver?
It just does whatever. But this one has a wood saw.
It has a wood saw. Pliers. Wire cutter. Pliers / wire cutter / wire crimper. LED light. Oh, LED, that's fancy.
That's a good one.
USB stick. Oh my god, it's so new age.
I wonder how much memory you can fit onto a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah. I've had a really thin
Rasmus,
one
look into
before.
that for us.
Yeah. Come on, Rasmus. This is some pretty poor information you've given us here. Magnifying lens. Phillips screwdriver. Hoof cleaner. Yeah, hoof cleaner.
If you're going on a trail ride or something.
It just seems like such a broad range of things you need. I suppose that's the point.
That's literally the point.
Shackle opener. What? Marlin spike. Shackle opener. Just in case you get captured.
Yeah, that's an interesting one to be like,
By some-
strip the prisoners and then keep
Yeah.
the knife, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, they're not going to get out of shackles with a knife, are they?
Yeah. Just in case you find yourself in 1901. You're getting shackled. Can opener. 3mm slotted screwdriver. Can opener. 6mm slotted screwdriver. Combination tool containing cap opener. Cap opener. Can opener. 5mm slotted screwdriver / wire stripper. Okay, too many can openers. Bet you thought that was it, Camber. Keyring, reamer, multi-purpose hook, 2mm slotted screwdriver, chisel, corkscrew, Phillips head driver, mini screwdriver.
There's a lot of screwdrivers.
Bet you thought that was it, Camber. Scale tools.
Oh my God.
Tweezers, toothpick, pressurized ballpoint pen, stainless pin, digital clock, alarm, timer, altimeter, thermometer, barometer. That's it.
And
There's a lot of stuff.
You're getting most of that in 55 millimeters?
Yeah.
Well, I would say the
think
55 millimeter
they-
would have less.
they
what's
have
the
far
big?
less.
What was the big boy?
130.
Yeah,
millimeters.
130. That's where you're getting the
Yeah,
deluxe.
that's where
You're getting the
you're
USB
getting everything.
sticks.
Yeah. I don't know the most recent implementation. That's what Rasmus has said. He's done some pretty poor investigative stuff here.
And he
As
calls himself our Switzerland correspondent.
I know. Yeah, it's like he doesn't even want to be.
Yeah. Anyway, what does he continue?
Your Swedish Switzerland correspondent, Rasmus, and I'm not happy about being the Switzerland correspondent. And you can be and can you be a correspondent for 2 places?
Oh, yeah. You can, yeah.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
We wouldn't normally allow
If
it, but in
somebody
your...
tried to claim 2 places,
Yeah.
we'd be like, whoa.
I'll tell you what, if someone really writes in fighting for it, we may strip it of you.
Yeah.
But until such a time, we do need to know how much data you can store on the USB in a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah,
So
that's
if you can
right,
get back
yeah,
to
yeah.
us with that one.
Yeah. Okay, that's it. You know what I realized?
What?
Is I started setting up the Secret Santa thing.
Oh, yeah, the Reddit Secret Santa.
The Reddit Secret Santa. I was going to do it at the top of this episode.
But now you do it at the bottom.
Now I'm doing it at the bottom.
Yeah.
Hopefully people are still listening. I do imagine most people are just, halfway through that. Yeah, that's about enough.
I get it.
Yeah. If you want to be part of the Reddit Secret Santa, there will be a link, I suppose, on probably our Reddit, probably our Facebook page, maybe our Twitter.
Depending on how quickly we can set it up, it's either going to be in this episode's description notes or next week's episode description notes.
Let's say this week.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I feel like if next week, turns out if you consider time to sign up and time to get a present, it's really close to Christmas.
Yeah. This is my main fear.
Yeah. So anyway, if you'd like to sign up, look out for those. Also, if you'd like to write into us, you can do so. Reddit podcast, readitpodcast @gmail.com. You can also reach us at Facebook, Twitter, and our subreddit. They're all readit podcast.
If you would like to see the welcome return of comment of the week, let us know.
I've been waiting for somebody to write in about that for so long. But that's it. So thanks for listening, and we will read you later.